Today's recipe is a beautiful steak and onion pie. I'm doing it in the pressure cooker for convenience. We're going to start off with getting those ingredients ready first to go into our pressure cooker. We'll get that on and then I'll show you how to make the pastry. It is gonna be delicious, guys, and you must watch this recipe. All right, let's get cracking. All right, so on this side I've got my pressure cooker ready to go and my hot plate. Let's make sure that we turn that up. Let it get nice and hot before we put the pressure cooker on there. The first, oh hello, what's this? Great Northern Brewing Company. It's a crisp beer. This is essential for this recipe, only for chefs. All right, let's go over the ingredients. Chuck steak or stewing steak. I'm going to leave this whole, and if you watch my last video, you will see that porter steak video I did in the pressure cooker. We're going to kind of stick to that recipe method, but we're changing up the ingredients, and I want to show you what I'm going to do with this. It's going to be delicious. A couple of onions already sliced up there. I've done a rough dice, don't have to be too fancy. Thickening agent is going to be a little bit of flour. We've got some pink salt there and some cracked black pepper. Got my steak. Herbs, I'm going to be using rosemary and a bit of marjoram there, dried marjoram, and a couple of bay leaves. Now also over to the back, this is the tomato, the crushed tomatoes, or actually they are a crushed tomato. Mooney is the brand that I always use. I'm sure I've pronounced that right, if not, bad luck. I don't know. And you've got tomato paste there, that's just the old Coles brand, cheap version. We're going to add some olive oil onto the steak and a little bit of chicken stock. Very, very simple. Now let's get frying, let's get everything on, and I'll show you how. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is a little bit of salt. This is that pink Himalayan salt. You don't have to use this particular brand, you can just use regular salt. And I got some cracked black pepper. Now I like a lot of it because I like my meat pies to be a bit peppery. If you don't like this much pepper, you can just reduce it to your liking. You know, put the whole lot on there. It's probably only about a good half a tablespoon. All right, so that's that on there. We're going to drizzle a little bit of olive oil over the top. You can use vegetable oil. Just happen to have olive oil on the standby there. Let's get it into our pressure cooker. I'm not going to dice this up, and you'll see why. It'll just fall apart. I'm not going to chop the garlic up, and I have roughly diced the onion, as you can see. Let's get it into our pressure cooker. That's nice and hot now, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop in just a little bit of olive oil to coat the pan so it doesn't stick when I put that in. You'll find a little bit of smoke there coming off of there, which says to me that it is hot enough. Put your steak in with that nice sizzle. Now, really important, don't touch it. Let it sear on one side. You'll find that the meat will actually cool that pan down a little bit. Just let that sear now. All right, so while that's cooking, I just want to season the other side before I flip it over with some salt. And because this is a pie with a lot of pepper and onion, I'm adding more pepper on that side. Now I'm just going to turn it over. Got a beautiful colour on that side. There you go. Okay, now it's got that lovely sear on there. I'm going to toss in the onions and the garlic. The garlic is whole. I'm just going to toss that in whole because it will mash up in the pressure cooker quite well. Followed by the dried herbs and the bay leaves. And I'm tossing in the rosemary whole, and we will remove that later. Let the meat nestle on the onions and let that sweat down for about a couple of minutes. Okay, it's had a couple of minutes now. I'm going to remove the meat, just put it on a plate, give the rest of the ingredients a little stir. You can see where we're at now. Smells absolutely fabulous. Now our thickening agent, about 3 tablespoons of plain flour. And I forgot to mention, We've got about 550 grams of meat, which I didn't say, I don't think, on the recipe. And now we just want to cook this off till that flour cooks out a little. And that will take about a minute. 2 tablespoons of tomato paste, and we want to cook that through. Time to add the tomato now. This is a 400 gram tin. I'm adding half of that, so 200 grams of the beautiful crushed tomato. I love using this brand. I use it whenever I can because it's just excellent. It's gorgeous. Look at the color. Look at how red that is. Now it's time to put the meat back into the sauce, as well as the rest of those juices, those resting juices from the meat. Okay, so we want to put the lid on. As soon as this blue valve flips up, we're going to give it 45 minutes and it's going to be amazing. Okay guys, to make the pastry you're going to need 185 grams of all-purpose flour. Just pop that into your food processor. And I've got 125 grams of unsalted butter. You can use lard or shortening, whichever you prefer. Going to pop in a pinch of salt. And just get our lid on. Just going to pulse this now. Get that nice fine breadcrumb. Now, cold water. About 3 to 4 tablespoons of ice cold water. Put 3 in, see how you go, and you can always adjust. That's it. As soon as it clumps together, that's well enough. That's perfect. Okay, so the meat has come off. I'm going to now start to put it into this pie dish. This is a 9-inch pie dish. Start to remove the bay leaves. So now I'm going to strain everything in a sieve and put the rest of the filling into the pie like this. Beautiful. Really delicious. So that's our gravy to go over our mashed potato. Okay, so with our pie cooling down, we're going to get the pastry out of the fridge. If you want the pastry on the bottom, you need to double this recipe, but I'm just doing a pastry top. Just a little bit of flour on the top and the bottom. With the remainder of the pastry, you can make some little garnish or little flour or something. 1 egg yolk. We're going to brush the top of the pie with the egg mixture. we go, guys. Serrated knife to cut this pie through that lovely soft pastry. I did the mashed potato in the pressure cooker as well. It is velvety soft. Done a bit of a side dish of minted broccoli, peas and beans. When I say minted, I've put a little bit of mint jelly in there as I've cooked it. I'm going to finish off with that gorgeous gravy that we strained earlier over the mash, over the wherever you want to put it. This is comfort food, my friends, comfort food. Look how flaky that pastry is. It's just like butter. Gorgeous, very soft. Meat is just so super tender and absolutely delicious. Thank you for watching. Hope you give this recipe a try.